Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Public comment, Andy. What's it? Closer. Public comment, Mandy.
Public comment is an opportunity for members of the public to address the Board of Directors on any subject matter that is not on the meeting agenda and is within the board subject matter jurisdiction. Public comment periods are limited to 3 minutes per person, and the total amount of time for public comment is 15 minutes. Persons participating by way of video conference or teleconference shall ensure their audio is muted at all times except when the board chair announces public comment periods. At those designated times, members of the public wishing to speak shall enable their audio and state their name for the record. When multiple members of the public wish to speak, the clerk will determine the order of speakers and announce their names accordingly. To ensure proper conduct, the board reserves the right to mute the audio and video of any member of the public violating generally accepted principles and decorums of official public meetings. We do have one public comment, Charles Sharp.
Are the microphones working down there?
Hello. Okay, you can hear me. Good morning, Charles Sharp, Oregon House. I want to thank you for considering to increase the Bill Shaw grants to $20,000. I'm on the Fire District Grant Committee, and I already know how the money was spent. I understand that Director Vasquez suggested this, and I want to thank him very much for following through. Back in January, the North Yuba Water District said it would be asking the Yuba Water Agency to help out with extending the water lines to the Oregon House area. I'm not sure what is happening with that, but we do not have to wait until that happens to have pressurized water hydrants in Oregon House. Building off the agency's 150,000 gallon water tank on Marysville Road, a pressurized water line could be installed down Rice's Crossing Road now. While this is being done, Rice's Crossing could be realigned, widened, and turnouts provided. I see this as a water agency project at this time because the water would be coming from your wells. Should at some point in the future a pipe be extended to the area, it could easily be connected in. This part would need to be built in any case, so why wait? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Charles. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Any on Zoom? No. Okay, moving on. Consent items. We have a motion.
Director Vasquez has made a motion and Director Bradford has seconded.
All in favor, raise your hand. Aye. Let the record reflect everybody voted yes. Discussion items. So item 3, consider approval of revisions of the Community Impact Grant and Loan Program policy, including consideration of increasing the annual maximum of the Bill Shaw rescue equipment and training grants from $10,000 to $20,000. Jim.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Chair and board members. Jim Attrition. I'm your Organizational Development Officer. It's good to see you again. It's been a while. I wanted to bring this item, or we wanted to bring this item to you after some consideration from the pod committee, some stakeholder meeting that occurred back in April 17th. Grant program staff at the agency all contributed to the revisions that you see before you today. I'll just give a quick summary and an overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Hope you've had an opportunity to read it. So the recommended updates to the policy are largely clarifications and just modernization of the language. Based on what we've learned over the last 4 years, since the policy was originally adopted in October of 2020. We did receive input from the pod committee on March 4th, and that stakeholder meeting, which included about 30 people on April 17th. All positive feedback, nothing significant was suggested for policy edits at that time. So we scheduled it for the board consideration today. So you will note on there that there are no changes to the 6 primary funding areas that was in the policy back in 2020. We've kept those the same. Those are flood risk reduction, water supply and water management, watershed resilience, water education, water conservation, and the Bill Shaw Rescue Equipment and Training grants. Policy does separate out these funding areas by specifying that our core mission areas are flood risk reduction and water supply and water management. The other 4 funding areas are categorized as a community impact mission area. So kind of the difference there, we want to invest our dollars in the core mission areas of flood risk, obviously, and water supply. Those are our core mission areas. And then the other 4, community impact, we typically see smaller amounts in those areas. So we do recommend a cap for those. So we'll talk about that. We are recommending that the board adopt a practice focusing funding for prioritized projects within core mission areas absent a predefined funding maximum. Typically over the last 4 years, that has been a $10 million cap. And we further recommend that the board adopt the maximum of $2.5 million for each fiscal year for projects that fall within the other 4 funding areas for community impact. I think that was it. Though there's one more thing with that. The figure of 2.5 was derived over the last 5 years of data. We looked at kind of where those landed and determined that that was a more than reasonable amount to establish as our first year as going forward. To be clear, all applications for grants and loans must comply with the Agency Act, our mission areas, of course, the strategic plan, et cetera. So we do stress that that still applies today. Before you at the pod committee back in March, Director Vasquez brought up the concept of increasing the Bill Shaw grants from $10,000 per fiscal year to $20,000 per fiscal year for our first responders, agencies within the county. And that's why it's on your agenda today to actually contemplate that. We wanted to bring that forward. So I'm happy to answer any questions or clarifications.
Thank you. Any questions of the directors? Here, I'll hand you the microphone.
Let's get a microphone for you. Sit down.
Let's see, testing. Okay. I think it's the start of the 3rd paragraph. There's a red underline on fiscally responsible, and it should be fiscal responsibility on that.
Which page are you on, Director Vasquez? Sorry.
First page, 1.0, third paragraph. First.
The objectives are to provide fiscally responsible, consistent, fair, and effective distributions of Yuba Water discretionary funds to public agencies and nonprofit entities. That makes sense? Fair enough? Okay.
Any other questions? Director Matthews?
I wanted to make the 12.0 is not changed, but it I think is a major statement that we ought to know that's there. It reads, the board reserves the authority to waive this policy in whole or in part during a duly noticed meeting to the extent waiver does not violate any state or federal law.
All right. Are there any comments from the public on this matter? None? All right. Have a motion? Okay.
Director Vasquez has made a motion and Director Matthews has seconded.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, let it be known for the record. Every director voted yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Managers report.
All right, good morning. This meeting's going pretty quick here. So happy to report New Bullard's Bar is full and has been for about a week and a half and will be for the next several weeks. We're seeing a decrease in the snow melt now, but still some significant inflows coming in. I went by the power system headquarters last Wednesday to check on progress. Things are going well. I think there's a tour set up soon for a couple folks that wanted to go see it. I'd encourage you to go see it if possible. If you need to set up a tour, let me know. Last week, we had our annual inspection of New Bullard's Bar Dam with DSOD. That went well. We also operated the low-level outlet as part of the inspection requirement. And the only comments we had were minor maintenance and housekeeping items. All all in all, that's a pretty big milestone. We have two regulators that regulate our dam, FERC and Division of Safety of Dams. This is the state entity, and that's who was out last week. So I want to thank Tim and Brian for the good work they do managing New Bullards Bar. On the maintenance side, we completed the Narrows 2 annual outage last week, and we had planned to return it to service at the end of last week. However, the intake gate, which is in Englebright Reservoir, the cable that operates that intake gate was frayed and broke. We're procuring a new cable. It's going to take a week to get the cable and a week to install the cable. It comes from Ohio. So Narrows 2 has not returned to service due to this broken intake gate cable. It's hard to tell exactly what caused the fraying and the breaking of the cable, but it's suspected that woody debris that's caused by the spill at Englebright frayed the cable itself while it was closed during the outage. So it's unfortunate that we didn't get the unit back at the end of last week, but we're doing everything we can to get it back as soon as possible. Narrows 1 and the Colgate units remain online. As far as weather goes, we have a pretty significant heat event, not record breaking by any means, but the first significant heat event of the year today through Thursday. And then very likely another high pressure system coming in Monday through Wednesday next week. So we'll see additional snow melt, probably the tail end of the snow melt next week. And power prices will likely increase now that we're into the hot part of summer. Spilling of New Bullards Bar. We didn't spill through the spill gates, but 2 weeks ago, we opened the low-level outlet to gain about 2,500 acre-feet of space in New Bullards Bar, or allow for 2,500 acre-feet of inflow. So it wasn't through the spill gates, it was through the low-level outlet. It was like a day. What could it pass for capacity? 12, well, in an emergency scenario, 3,000 CFS, and under normal operating conditions, 1,200. And I think we used it at a rate of about 1,000 CFS. On the communications side, our final news and review sponsored article ran, featuring the story of the agency's history, which was also picked up and shared by Maven's Notebook. The Appeal Democrat ran a story following our last meeting featuring the update on the Power Systems Facilities construction and our support of the First 5 Growing Up Wild program. Next week, we are giving a tour of the new Power Systems construction site to students at Camp Singer who are in a construction pathways program. Last weekend, we sponsored the Beale Bash at Beale Air Force Base, which had over 900 people in attendance. Recent sponsorships include the Brownsville Farmers Market, which is ongoing. The Cal Matters Ideas Festival starts later this week, and the Lip Sync Battle, a fundraiser for Shady Creek Outdoor School, which we had approved a sponsorship for, was postponed. On the community side, Yuba Water Agency intern Rex Rollins, and I think Rex is here. There's intern Rex, distributed 1,500 water conservation kits to local public water providers. These kits are now available to residents of Yuba County as a part of a targeted water conservation pilot program. The community impact and engagement team premiered a water conservation video to a packed audience at the North Yuba Water District office, receiving enthusiastic feedback. Next on their agenda is presenting a water conservation program to students in the Marysville School District during their summer school session, scheduled from June 5th to June 27th. And just a reminder, the Yuba Water Agency has joined hands with Olivehurst Public Utility District, Linda County Water District, Wheatland Water District, and North Yuba Water District in a united effort to ensure these kits reach residential customers. Designed to curtail water usage and ideally reduce water bills for Yuba County residents, these kits are part of a concerted effort to promote sustainable water practices in the county. And that list of partners, most of our water providers in the county, I just want to compliment Jackie on pulling that together and collaborating with our water suppliers in this county on water conservation education and actual conservation itself. It's just another example of the things Yuba Water Agency does to collaborate and benefit this county. The last thing I have is the next Board of Directors meeting is on June 18th, and I believe we have an ABP meeting after this meeting over at our F Street office.
Thank you. Director's report. So I'm going to start down there with Director Bishop, and we'll come to me and then skip over, and I'll hand the microphone down to Andy and come back this way.
I would like to comment I would like to comment, the governor's come up with a salmon system. We're mentioning quite a few places that it is in Yuba. It's the salmon that drive the environmentalists and the salmon people to want more water for the ocean. The report that he is implementing over the next 3 years is to increase salmon, not necessarily just with water, but with other means. And I think it would be well for the directors to look to see what this salmon report is going to do over the next 3 years, because it involves the water agency quite a bit.
Director Matthews is referring to the governor's salmon strategy for a hotter and drier climate.
A few meetings ago, we had a presentation from the Bear Yuba Land Trust. And one of the things they presented on was the Yuba Rim Trail. And last Friday morning, I had some time. And so I took a hike on that. It was beautiful views from there. And it was about 5 miles in and back, mostly shaded. So it was a great trail. And just wanted to encourage my fellow directors to do the same if they're looking to take a hike.
Charlie's walked that uphill both ways in the snow. Andy? Don?
Not too much. In July, we have the Peach Festival and the fair is coming up, Yuba-Sutter Fair. Friday, I'm attending the Mountain Counties Water Resources Association meeting. I'm on that board. Pretty good group. Talk about water education, a lot of legislative analysis, which is typical. Thank you.
Nothing from Director Fear. Okay, that leaves me. Went to the North Yuba Water District Board meeting last week. Jackie came and did a presentation with the water conservation kits very well, represented the water agency very well. Thank you. And let's see what else I have here. The Fire Safe Council has put together community meeting asking for the community to give input for wildfire mitigation, which we all know helps protect our watershed. The first one is tonight in Brownsville at 6:30 p.m. at the Ponderosa Community Center. Tomorrow night is Smartsville, 6:30 at Rose Bar School. June 11th is at Loma Rica at the Lions Club at 6:30. June 12th, Dobbins Organ House at the Alcove Center at 6:30. And finally on the 13th at Camptonville, 6:30 p.m. at Camptonville Community Center. And if you can make any of those, apparently I'm the guest speaker, so it could be very interesting. That's all I have. Nothing else. The meeting's adjourned.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties.